It's been described as a transformational moment in the history of Ethiopia. Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn announced he'd quit his post as Prime Minister and chairman of the ruling coalition on Thursday. Desalegn says his resignation is aimed at paving the way for smooth political reforms. In his resignation text, he cited unrest and political crisis as major factors leading to his resignation.
Because of the political instability the country finds itself in the past 3 years, he, I think, has been finding itself in a very difficult situation to bring any meaningful solution to the problem. And the division within the EPRDF and the increasing assertion of the regional governments, I believe, made him less relevant and less powerful to respond to this problem.
The announcement comes following years of violent unrest in Ethiopia, which has destabilized the second most populous nation in Africa.
However, he did, as he resigned, the Prime Minister also announced the release of many of the people who had been detained. So we'll have to see where they're going and what their tactic is. I don't know how they're thinking now.
Ethiopia has been dealing with a political crisis for some time. Since January, over 6,000 political prisoners have been released to contain public anger. Last month, the government decided to close down a notorious prison in the capital, Addis Ababa, and release opposition figures.
Some of the change, some of the demands of the public are not something that can be done in a week or a month. These are processes and reforms that may take years. But at least the new Prime Minister should succeed in convincing the mass and a significant majority of the Ethiopian public that he or she is willing to respond to the demands of the public.
And last week, the country was rocked by a wave of strikes near its capital. The effects of these strikes have been described as unprecedented.
So I think in light of the political history of Ethiopia, the resignation of a sitting head of government has a symbolic relevance, but its political significance will depend on the change that will follow his resignation.
Back in 2015 and 2016, security forces killed hundreds of people in Oromiya and Amhara, two populous regions in Ethiopia.
So a lot of these long-standing ethnic differences and so on are heated up to be used against the government.
The country has been accused of human rights abuses, restricting freedom, and land grabbing. Ethiopia is a crucial country in West Africa, is the largest economy in the region, and a key Western ally in the so-called war on terror. But its politics are complicated.
The ethnic group of the ruling party doesn't represent a huge percentage. It's only 6% of the population. But that kind of democracy doesn't mean anything if the country isn't developing.
Hailemariam Desalegn has served as the country's prime minister since 2012. He's been praised for revitalizing the country's economy, but he's been accused of stifling freedom and violating human rights.
Well, under the previous government and now and the present prime minister who just resigned, same party, there had been tremendous growth of industry and infrastructure construction in Ethiopia.
The ruling coalition is composed of 4 political parties along ethnic lines: the Amhara National Democratic Movement, the Oromo People's Democratic Organization, the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, and the Southern Ethiopian People's Democratic Movement.